Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stu Clark here. Today's going to be a fun one. I was down here last night and it was fantastic. So we're going to play with some birds in flight, and specifically we're going to be looking at the barn swallow. Have you ever tried to photograph them before? They're crazy. They're so fast. It's such a difficult subject, but such a challenge. And down at this awesome estuary setting here, it's kind of amazing actually. It's really green still. We're kind of to be this late in the season and still be green. It's pretty awesome. And so I'm going to go through. I'm going to also touch on some of the changes I've made to my Shooting Bank A. And so Shooting Bank A is my out in the field, in flight estuary setting. So that's going to be my my go-to for fast flying subjects in typically a brighter environment. So this is my Shooting Bank B. If you watch that video, that's kind of the forest one. Shooting Bank A is out in more of an open environment, like we are here. The beach, estuaries, anywhere you're going to be running into things like eagles, herons, swallows, which you're going to be chasing today. And so my Shooting Bank A, and I want to thank everybody that's watched that video. It's actually been my biggest hit of a video so far, so I'm pretty stoked about that, which is just a great, huge thank you for everyone that's watched that. I'm hoping a lot of you got some great info out of that video, and okay, very cool. The light's really nice. I should probably start shooting instead of talking right now, but we'll kind of get into it. So with my Shooting Bank A, I've definitely made some few changes. The photo side of it, surprisingly, was pretty tight. I've shot, I got the Z8 back in November. I'm closing in on 100,000 shots through the camera right now, and hours of video footage. I've actually been taking more video than photos this year, which was one of the big reasons of getting the camera. Just really, really excited about diving into the video side of it. Phenomenal camera. So one of the biggest changes I made was switching to with my Shooting Bank A in the last little bit was with my cycle area AF on function 2. I originally had it with the 3D and the auto area AF. And what I found was the limitations of the auto area AF, in many ways 3D also had it. And the biggest, great blue heron was actually the deciding factor. I had great blue herons and actually these guys here. I'm going to actually show, we'll kind of set the laptop up and we'll record through the screen, and you get an idea of what I'm also talking about with the, so basically what I've done to the custom area wide instead of 3D. The auto area AF down here, open environment, birds flying. I've been photographing a ton of osprey, videoing a bunch of osprey. I've been really happy with the auto area AF. It works so awesome. A few little tweaks you got to do to kind of perfect it, but so far I've been just really happy. It works really, really well for me, and I've been really excited about that. But what I found was great blue herons are a bird. Nikon cameras are known for it. I think some of the other brands might have issues with it too. For whatever reason, a great blue heron, if it's a really nice lit flush on body, like side profile shot, has no trouble with picking up the eye. As soon as the bird turns, moves around, it quickly wants to go to the body and defaults to the body all the time. So by going to the custom area wide and basically going to a bit of I'm actually using the 3x9, so it gives me a little bit more width, which is nice out here. I was going 3x5, and then down here last night, I realized that just going 3x9, it won't affect having a little bit wider, won't affect kind of getting focus on the heron, but it really helps here. And what it helps with, as these swallows, you can see, I don't know if you can see them in the background there, they're coming in really low on the grasses. So it's a kind of an amazing photo op. It's really kind of a neat, you get the grasses sticking up in the shot. They're actually picking flies off the grasses. But what happens is when you have it with auto area AF, it wants to quickly either go back or forward on the grasses and sometimes won't get the swallow. So the 3x9 allows you to go for a little bit of a longer box. They can keep it just above the grasses. And this is my idea behind my wildlife for Shooting Bank C, which I'll be doing in the next little while. Just need to find a good, consistent wildlife deer, seals, anything like that, the longer custom wide area box is really nice, because a lot of times grasses will be coming in, or the water on the, whether you're photographing or videoing seals or orcas, moose or anything like that, you tend to have a foreground that will want to pull focus or a background that will want to pull focus. So having a narrow box really allows you to kind of narrow your focus point down to where you want it to be. So we've got a bunch of swallows right here. So this location is kind of neat in that there's a little bit of a wet area behind me here. It's only 10 by 12 feet. It's not very large, but the flies are hatching off it. So what's happening is the barn swallows are coming in and picking them off. It's funny, I was down here last night. I was looking through got home, got a bunch of great shots, and I realized that I have a lot of great photos of juvenile barn swallows, but the adults are much tougher. And watching the video last night, the adult male blast right through the scene. The juveniles, fluttering slowly, learning to fly, learning to hunt. They're so much slower. It's so funny. And it's like, no wonder I have all these great shots of juveniles, but the adults are a lot tougher. So let's hook the laptop up so we can do some recording through the viewfinder, and we'll show how I've set it up for the with the custom area wide. Okay, let's get into it. Last night when I was down here, the wind was actually coming from the other direction. So it was slowing them down as they're coming in feeding, where right now the wind is actually quite about 20 an hour coming at me. So they're flying very, very quick. So we'll see what we get. We'll definitely get some footage to kind of look at how I've done the settings and changed. Might be a bit tough tonight to actually get some decent footage. Last night I actually got some really nice shots, and I got a bunch of great slow motion footage. Really happy with what I got. So hopefully we can kind of get some stuff here. So you see, the auto area is great when it's in the air, but as soon as it gets to the grasses, because I'm shooting at such a low level here, if the bird is dominant in the image, it's really great. It picks it up no problem. But as soon as you get into a little bit further out, it'll start pulling on the grasses and the focus will stop. So going with the 3x9 box here, how I like to use it is, you'll see here. So you see how quick it is to pick the bird up? Oh, that was nice. Oh, that was a really nice bank. Hopefully got that. Yeah, last night there was so much disturbance in the air. It was a little bit warmer of a day. So photos are really tough. I have to be really close to get anything sharp. So what I found was working really well for me yesterday was pick them up with the custom area wide. So the 3x9 box, which you can see is a little bit long, narrow. And as they get to a certain distance, hit the function 2 button, that puts it the auto area. And I found it worked really well. You can see how I push the button there and switch it over. As they're getting close, the camera will track a lot better as they start to dart from one side to the other. And it worked really, really well, because I found that the custom area wide, you're not gonna move it around so much with these. They're so fast. So yeah, so from the photo side of it, I've actually made very few changes. I probably made a few changes on the I menu, but even there, a lot of the stuff I've changed, but haven't used yet. It's kind of funny. I've been tweaking a few things, but the main change has been getting rid of the 3D and going to the custom area wide. So where I've done that, if you have a look under controls, custom control shooting. So when you go to the function 2 button, my cycle area AF mode, I've made it where my wide area CF2 is now, along with the auto area AF, are now going to be my function 2 button site for the cycle area AF. And I found that utilizing those two, I was using the custom area wide for my shooting bank B in the woods, just with warblers and with that kind of busy environment. The auto area didn't make a lot of sense there. And so I was using 3D tracking along with the custom area wide. And in that one, I'm using a 3x5 box, using a slightly smaller box, just because you don't want to be picking up too many false positives. You don't want to be picking up branches, too much stuff like that. But what happened was, as soon as I started utilizing it, I actually started missing it on the Shooting Bank A side of it. I actually found that I just really liked it as a autofocus setting. Lots of herons around right now. There's a couple rookeries in the area. Herons, and me, like I said, it started going to the body just far too often. And so this allows you to put it over the head and kind of just move the whole box over the head, so that it really kind of made it a lot better at just picking up the eye and not kind of jumping around as much as it was. Like I said, my Shooting Bank A, the photo side of it's just been great. I found the performance of it, auto area AF for ospreys has just been fantastic. I've been really happy with it. The one trick I have been using when the osprey, a lot of times we've got mountain backgrounds or also the water. And the trick is that as the bird is passing through a couple transition zones, if you pop your thumb off the AF on button, stop focusing and then re-engage focus on the bird as soon as it's past the transition zone. Also, as it impacts the water, take your thumb off the button to stop focus. Or with osprey, a lot of times what I'll do is as they're starting the last portion of the dive, so as they fly down, they're kind of at a certain speed, and then as they fold up kind of their wings, it's like instant acceleration, and it really helps to just disengage focus for that millisecond, and then you'll be hopefully in the plane of focus as opposed to completely missing focus and being completely lost. And I found it works really, really well. It's a bit of a different day than it was yesterday because the wind has changed direction. They're actually now feeding on a bit of the grass is a little bit lower to the right here. So it's a little bit of a low spot in the field right over here where they're actually coming in and feeding beside me. It's got potential, got really good potential for a nice flyby shot. Always the way they always come in nice and close and slow when you're doing something else. Okay, let's have it. So this is definitely a 20 frames per second shoot. You'll find just there's so much variation from photo to photo, and then you just get the odd one where you get a really nice track as they're coming in. Last night I took 4,500 shots, and I got some good ones, but a lot of them, because they said there was so much atmospheric disturbance yesterday. Looks a little cleaner air today, so hopefully it's a little bit better off. And that's one of those things, just you never really know when you're out there. You just got to take the shots and hopefully you got something. And I did get pretty happy with some of the stuff I got. Nothing was super crisp though. Well, that was a nice tail turn. One of the things when you get your shooting banks all dialed up, like I have got them now, you can see it's literally, I just flick the switch and I go from video to photo almost instantaneously. So if you've got a bird flying in and it's going to give you you can see it's going to be a nice photo op, you can just literally flick the switch, start shooting, and it's almost instant. If you have to stop the video, there is a bit of a delay there, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. But it's great though, because you can really just add to your portfolio, switching back and forth, video, photo. You're out in a day, and you can just end up with a ton of great footage. So shots like that too, as it's banking in front, it grab focus right away initially, then it will lose focus, and then it might pick up focus again, and just keep shooting. Don't worry about it. Beautiful thing with digital, it doesn't cost you anything to take a photo. You can delete it. I think it makes a lot of sense, just because what happens a lot of times, the focus, it's coming so close. It's in and out. You'll pick it up on the first part of the bank. You'll get it at the beginning of the bank, and as it comes through, you might lose focus, but then it'll pick it up again right in front of you. Just shoot, just keep shooting, because you never know if you're gonna get it or not. Not only that, with these guys, because they turn so much, they might actually turn into the focus again. So even though it might be out of focus, the camera's not catching up to them, but they might actually turn back into focus. So shoot away. And one thing when you're shooting this sort of subject, there's no waiting on the shot. You just got to press the button. It just, everything happens so quick. And you know, I had a couple shots yesterday where in one of the videos, it's unfortunate, it's out of focus, but the bird just did a complete stall right in midair, dropped, grabbed the fly, and kept going. So these things that you just, you know, there's no waiting for the moment. Definitely you want to be in reasonable proximity to you, just so you have, you know, reasonable footage, closeness wise. Especially yesterday when I said I got home and I realized how much the atmospherics were affecting the shot when I was out there. That's one of the big problems. So right now I'm on a coastal estuary, and the lower you get, the worse the atmospherics tend to be. And you really notice it. It's a cool wind blowing off the ocean. Ocean's a kilometer away, but just a cool wind blowing off the ocean where the ground has been heated by the sun. So you end up with that layer in there, which can be quite thick. And a lot of times the swallows, that's where they're flying, that's where they're hunting. So you don't really have much of a choice. So you definitely want to have them as close to you as possible to get the, you know, the best image quality. Yeah, for me, this style of shooting, it's just, I don't know, something about finding a nice subject. Yeah, this style of shooting for me, just kind of getting out. It's such a great learning experience to really get to know your gear. Like I said, this is, like I said, the herons and the swallows. The heron, I went to a 3x5 box instead of the 3D because I found that helped. And then once I've been out here, I find the little wider one gives me a little better trackability with trying to get the in-flight birds when there's a foreground that the camera will pick up. One of the really cool things to shoot like this, you have no idea what you're going home with until you know, later that night, the next day, or 3-4 days later, by the time you get through them all, you just don't know what you got because there's no way to know. You just shoot. Lots of turns, lots of things. You know, there might be bill open, grabbing a fly, perfect focus. You don't know, and that's what's so cool. That's what makes this style of shooting so much fun. Oh, what a really fun shoot today. Some days it's just so important to get out with your camera and just, you know, get out and take some photos, take some video, and just, you know, it's July long weekend here in Canada, so it's our Canada Day celebration. So it's actually the highways are crazy busy, but it's nice and quiet down here. Everyone's traveling apparently. It's funny, on a lot of times long weekends you think it's going to be busy and your favorite little spot can be super quiet. Everyone's left. I'm not going to complain. And of course, as I start talking, a bunch more swallows come in. I hope you got some good info out of this today. I really appreciate you joining me. A really fun photo shoot. And yeah, till next time, we'll see you out there. Take care.